All right. Well, hello, leaders. I am so excited for this webinar. Um, I I will say that my passion in this business, I've said it like many times, is to work with leaders because I love your passion for the business. I love just being able to see you accomplish your hopes and your dreams and have goals and things that you're working towards really inspires me. So today we're going to talk all about Red Jacket and also focus on why a business is very different than attending a 9-to-5 job, and kind of talk through and walk through the differences of that and why it's important to understand that. So first, let's chat about Red Jacket and why you want to be in one if you're not already. And as you're recruiting, why it's important to encourage your team members to get into Red. So Red Jacket is a recognized position in Mary Kay because I think it separates the girls from the women. I mean, truly, if you've moved into Red Jacket, you've proven that you can work this business consistently, which also means successfully in the business world. Nothing happens in the business world without consistency. And I've actually heard many times that the measure of your success in your Mary Kay business is based on the space between your skincare parties. And I've seen that be so true in my business and in the business of any consultants that I've been working with. So I want you to think about this. Map out your last 4 parties and see how far apart have your last 4 parties been. And you might be looking at your calendar like, I don't even know when my last 4 parties were, or maybe all my last 4 parties were last month and you're rocking it. But I can tell you that that's going to make all the difference in your business. And when you're looking to move into Red, you must be consistent and remain consistent. And I will tell you the reason for this is because most consultants that you're recruiting are going to treat their Mary Kay business like a gym membership. So what that means is that some people join the gym and within weeks stop going more than once or twice a month because they lacked vision and commitment when they started going to the gym. So, they went in kind of with great intentions and whatever, what they thought were realistic expectations. And then once they started going to the gym, it just wasn't a priority to them. And so they let other things kind of get in the way. So that's one level of the gym membership that you're also going to see in your Mary Kay business. So you're going to have girls come in that are going to be, they're going to be really excited right off the bat. They seem really sharp. You're really excited to work with them. And then after a few weeks of being in the business, they don't answer your calls anymore. They're not, participating in events. And so that's what happens. And I think a lot of times we make that so emotional as consultants and directors because we get our hopes up and think that they're really awesome, and they might be really awesome. But at the end of the day, it's just working the numbers. And so what you do have to come to realize and understand is that, like a gym membership, women that start a Mary Kay business don't necessarily have the same commitment to it that you do, even if initially they seemed really excited about it. The second group of people would be the people that continue to go to the gym day in and day out, and they are committed because they have a purpose and a plan and a vision for what they want to achieve. And so you're going to have that group of consultants as well as you're out there team building and recruiting. And thank God for this group of consultants because they're so much fun to work with. I love watching their dedication to their business, and that when days are good or when days are bad, they're still showing up. So think about a gym membership. If you've had a bad day at work, or maybe it's a busy week, or something else kind of comes up and you're like, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll get to it. That level is really not commitment because it's not prioritized in their life. Okay. So this is why I think it's so important for you to work to get into your Red Jacket, but then also to encourage your consultants to work to get into their Red Jackets, because they need a vision and a purpose and something that they're working towards and working to achieve. And so whether that's financial success within the business, whether they want to grow their confidence level through the business, regardless of what they decided the day that they signed up and why they decided to join Mary Kay, they need to see a bigger vision for why they should stick it out and continue going with it. And they really need to own that vision. So that vision can be yours for them, like in the first couple of days. But after that, if they don't catch that vision and the excitement and a real true purpose and vision for what they're doing with their businesses, you might lose them. Or what you'll see is you'll see them go through seasons with their business where they're really excited, really working it, and then seasons where they kind of fall off and you don't hear from them for a few months. And so they're not always prioritizing their business. It kind of comes and goes for them. I think it's so important just to understand that gym membership analogy as you're working your business, because like I said, we get so emotional as women about certain things within the business, and she quit and this business doesn't work. And so, you have 1 or 2 consultants quit within the same month and suddenly you're like, Mary Kay doesn't work. You start to freak out. But reality kind of sets in. You have to realize that when you're working your business and you're working to become a leader in Mary Kay, Red Jacket is not a position that you obtain, but rather a servant leadership role you begin to play every day. So it's a role as opposed to a position that you reach and then you kind of stop and you've reached your pinnacle of success. And directorship is the exact same thing. So when you move into Red Jacket or team leader or DIQ or directorship, what you're doing is you're moving into a role where you are working with women one-on-one, and you're really encouraging them, and you're a servant leader. And what a servant leader means, and I love the term servant leadership because that's truly what we are in Mary Kay. So we are working to help other women become successful by really being there to serve them and to help them and to coach them. And so, so that position is, it's just incredibly, incredibly important. But it's not something that you hit this level and then you quit. And the reason for that is that you hit Red Jacket and you don't work for a month. Guess what happens? You're going to lose a team member. Someone's going to fall off. And so if you're not consistently out there doing your career surveys and your appointments and all that, there's one thing that I can guarantee you of in this business or in life, and that is that things are constantly changing. And part of that in Mary Kay is that women are coming and they're going. And so we always say, we kind of break it down a third, a third, a third. So a third of your team members in Mary Kay are going to be working hard. They're going to be right there next to you. They're going to be excited about their business. They're going to be excited about moving up. The second group of women are going to be those gym membership people that are, they kind of come into the business and they work it in seasons and they place a couple of orders every year. And then you don't hear from them a ton other than that. So that's the second group of people. And the third group of people are the people that are in and out. They joined the gym, they had a great idea in mind, and then decided, you know what, this is not my priority in my life right now. And so they kind of fall out. So understanding though, those three categories is really important because they're the same for every single person in Mary Kay. So every single person that's growing their business, every single director faces these 3 groups of women. And so the group of women that are, in and out, you kind of have to just bid them farewell and say, it was great to know you for a time. You're out now, and that's great. Whatever it is that your passion is right now in life, it's not Mary Kay, and so that's okay. That second group of women they're kind of the seasonal consultants, the up and down, the in and out. They're at the gym one day, and the whole month goes by before they go to the gym another day. The desk clerk does not know who they are, would not recognize them when they come in. So that group of women, they need to hear from you, but they don't need a ton of attention from you. So they, you do want to spend some time with them, but more like in a group setting, or more kind of sending out, a text message and maybe talk to them here and there, but they're not going to be your consultants. They're going to have your time, your real time. Now the top group are the ones that have a vision. They have a purpose. They have a goal with their business. They're working, they're moving, they're doing something, and they don't need you to hold their hand and drag them. They're walking next to you. And that's the group that you want to focus the majority of your time with. And as consultants, you guys have sales directors right now, myself, or you might have a different sales director if you're on the call from out of our unit. And that your sales director is really going to take on a role for them. But one thing I mentioned in the last leadership webinar, was that they don't have the same connection to your director as they have to you. So if you're their recruiter, sometimes they view myself as a director as she's way out there and I'm nowhere near her. And so they are going to listen to what I say, and they're probably going to do a lot of what I say, but then they're going to check with you. Hey girl, this is what Leslie said. Is that true? Is that really what happens? Because they don't fully trust me yet. They don't know me that well to trust me, but they know you. So they're really looking to you. And so, consultants that you recruit will have a much greater longevity if they have a purpose and a plan with their business. So showing them what it looks like to be in red and why they would want to move into red is very important to show them early on, and to get them excited. So very important. And earning a consistent paycheck too and staying in that red doesn't hurt either. That's really fun. So when you hit red jacket, you still earn a 4% commission check, but with every qualified consultant with your fourth, so it takes 3 to get into red jacket, with your fourth team member, you're going to start to earn a $50 commission every time you bring in a qualified team member. So not only are you going to earn that 4% on their order, let's just say that they place a $1,000 order, you're getting 4% of it, but then you're also getting a $50 bonus on top of that. So that's really exciting. And then, as you guys know, once you hit red jacket, I just think it's silly to stop there. You want to keep building into a team leader, because that's when your check changes. So that's when your percentage is going to go from 4 up to 9 or 13%, depending on how many girls you have ordered that month and what you order. And that's when it really gets exciting. I remember it feeling tough to get into my red jacket and working really hard to get into my red jacket. But then once I hit red jacket, I remember moving to team leader really quickly, because I started understanding how recruiting went. And then I also started to see the benefit of, oh my gosh, I'm making 4% right now, but I could be making 9% right now or 13% really easily if I just brought 2 more girls in. So it just makes sense, logical sense. Okay, so let's walk through really quick. What should you do if that coveted red jacket is just within reach, but you're not quite there yet? I know there's a few of you guys in our unit. So the answer is simple. Do the parties and do the career surveys, okay? There's 4 wheels on your Mary Kay business. It's like a car with 4 wheels. 1 wheel is book. 2nd wheel is sell. The 3rd wheel is coach. The 4th wheel is recruit. So what you want to be doing is you want to be booking girls for parties. You want to be selling to them. You want to be coaching them with those appointments. And then you want to be doing career chats or interviews with the girls that are there. All 4 of those are really important in Mary Kay in order to be successful. And without doing all those 4 things, you're not going to obtain that level of success that you really want. So when you work this business the way that Mary Kay, the woman, intended you to work it, you'll be very successful, and your time in will yield more than any other job you've had. I promise you. But you have to be doing it the Mary Kay way, the right way. Okay? So here's an example. So booking the parties is where it all starts. And 10 contacts, so this is like 10 women that you're just reaching out to, okay, are going, 1 out of those 10 women are going to book a party with you and hold it, okay? So really important. Usually like 2 will book and 1 will hold. So 1 person out of 10 people that you ask. Then 1 party should yield you at least 1 additional party, okay? When you're at the party, your goal is always to book 2 future parties, because 1 is probably going to cancel or postpone. So if you book 2, your chances of having another party booked from that party to replace that party is really high. Also, every party should be yielding you at least 2 career chats or interviews or whatever you call them, okay? The only reason that you should not be doing at least 2 career surveys from each party is because you absolutely did not see 1 woman in that group of women that you would even a little bit want to work with, okay? That's the only reason. Otherwise, 2. Every party, 2. You can do more than 2, but don't do less than 2. Okay, so book those 2 appointments. And you guys know 1 party will, on average, profit you $100 to $150 up front. 5 career chats are going to get you 1 new recruit. So that's important to know. So what you're looking at then, if you have no team members and you want to get into red jacket, you're going to want to complete about 7 to 8 parties to go from no red jacket to red jacket. Okay, so 7 to 8 parties to do it the right way, all right? Or if you already have 1 active team member, then you only need to complete 5 parties, about 5 parties to hit red jacket. And remember, this is actually completing 2 career surveys at each party, non-negotiable. Okay, if you don't do that, it doesn't count. Like now you gotta do a whole nother party just to get your 5 in. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I think that's kind of all I wanted to talk about in terms of getting into your red jacket, why it's so important, and why you're continually basically maintaining a role when you're a red jacket. So you want to keep working and keep bringing girls in. And obviously, once you're in your red jacket, just look back at this and think, okay, if I wanted to be in my red jacket again, which means having an additional 3 recruits, again, it's going to take about 7 to 8 parties to find those women and do it the right way. And so if you kind of maintain, let's just say you're doing 5 parties a month, you're going to be bringing in 2 new team members every single month, which would be awesome and keep you moving up the career path. So kind of keep that in mind time-wise when you're scheduling everything out and how that works. The second thing that I want to chat with you guys about today, and we'll be done here in about 8 or 9 minutes, is that I want to talk to you guys about why Mary Kay is so different, because it's a business, than working a 9-to-5 job. And if you guys are like me, I actually grew up in a family where my family worked 9-to-5 jobs. They were paid when they clocked in until they clocked out, and that's how they got paid. There was no sense of entrepreneurship or anything like that in my personal family. And so what I saw the 9-to-5. That's what I saw. That's what I grew up with. That's what I was comfortable with. That's how I saw that you got paid in this world. And so when I started Mary Kay business, I had to learn a lot. There was a huge learning curve for me because I did not have an entrepreneurial background at all. But I do always remember my dad saying, Leslie, if you want to be happy in life, don't work for somebody else. Work for yourself. Even though he had always worked for other people, he had always told us that. So let's talk about 9-to-5 job and how it's so different than your business. So 9-to-5 job starts at a specific time and ends at a specific time that someone else decides for you. Okay, so somebody else kind of determines. You might have a little bit of flexibility in that, but for the most part, somebody else is determining when you're going to show up and when you're going to leave. In your Mary Kay business, you are the boss, okay? So you decide when your time starts and when your time ends. If you're allowing other people within your business to decide when your Mary Kay hours are, you're no longer the boss. Somebody else is the boss of you. So keep that in mind. That's really important. And what I mean by that is if you're allowing someone else to control your hours, like if you're constantly answering your cell phone, or if you're constantly getting back to people when you're with your family or doing something like that, it's going to be stressful and you're kind of losing control of your business, okay? So sometimes we don't have 100% flexibility within that. But for the most part, that's a huge perk of owning your own business, is being the boss of your schedule. So you want to keep a tight rein on that. You want to decide what hours you're working, what hours you're offering your customers for appointments, what hours you're offering your consultant, maybe to meet with them and to coach them. That is all super important. Okay, and you'll get burnout with your business if you don't decide specific hours to work each day. You'll get burnout and feel like you're always working, and you'll be working hard, not smart, and that's not great. We want to work smart, not hard, Mary Kay. Next, a 9-to-5 job pays you when you work. When you're not working, you will not receive any money. With a business, time is an investment and may not yield immediate money. However, when you work your business consistently over time, it will pay you even when you're not working. So an analogy that Zig Ziglar always did, that I was just telling one of my consultants about this last week, is the analogy of pumping a well. So, and this might be something that you guys have never seen before, but hopefully you have. It's the well, you're out in the field pumping. And at first, nothing comes out, and you're pumping, and you're like, okay, pretty soon water's going to start, coming out of this well. And you keep pumping, and you're like, man, nothing's coming. Is this even working? I'm really getting tired here. Like, is anything going to happen? You keep pumping. And just when you're about to give up, just when you think the well isn't working at all, it's broken, it's not worth it, you're too tired, water starts coming out of that well. And what you see is that it's not just a little bit of water. It's basically not even the amount of effort that you put in. It's a ton of water coming out of that well. And so your Mary Kay business is very much like this. So you build momentum with Mary Kay when you work consistently and keep working that business in the same way over and over and over again. It's when we give up and quit and think it's too hard. A lot of times we are right next to success and we miss it because we give up too quickly. So remember that well analogy and pumping that well analogy because your business is so similar to that. It really is. I promise you. So if you feel like right now you're working really hard and you're not yielding the results that you think you should be, or getting the paycheck you think you should be based on hours in, don't forget this is not a 9-to-5 job. It's a business. So it's going to pay you totally different. Sometimes you'll work and put a lot of hours in and get nothing out of your business. And then you'll put very few hours in it and get a lot of money out of it. So a great example of that is when you're building a customer base. So when you're new at Mary Kay and you're out and you're doing the parties, at first you're really not making any money unless you're showing up to work, showing up to work, showing up to work. But eventually those customers start reordering from you. And then guess what? You're not showing up to work and you're getting paid at the same time. So that's really cool. That's when it starts to get really exciting for sure. And same thing with building a team. It takes time and effort in the beginning, but as you're working with those girls and training those girls, what they're doing is going to pay you over and over and over again so that you start being able to create a passive income and you're making money even when you're not working, which is always fun. Okay, next, a 9-to-5 job. When you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're actually working so that somebody else can either move forward or work towards their dreams, okay? With a business, you're supporting your own personal dreams and working towards your own personal dreams. And so what I mean by that is that if you work for, X corporation, you are making that CEO's dreams come true. And, you might be bringing in a great amount of money for yourself and for your family as well. But at the end of the day, they control how you're making your money. And you're making money, and they're the ones that end up being the richest at the end of the day. And same thing if you work a job. So let's just say that you're a teacher. It's a similar thing in that you are going out every day and you are supporting the dreams and the hopes of others, and you're pouring into children or whatever your job might look like. You're supporting somebody else, which is awesome and super rewarding. But in your Mary Kay business, you kind of get to do both, which is really cool. So not only are you working with and supporting the dreams and goals of other women as you're training and working with them, but you're also working to support your own dreams and the dreams of yourself and your family. And so you're working hard, and it's not just for somebody else. It's also for yourself, which is really cool. Okay. Next, when you don't show up to a 9-to-5 job, you get fired, okay? When you don't show up to your business, you don't get paid. And this is so funny because many women will work their businesses like they will not work their businesses like they will their 9-to-5 job, and then they wonder why they're not getting paid from their business. And so it's so important to understand, you probably hear this phrase a lot, if you work Mary Kay like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. If you work it like a job, it's going to pay you like a job. If you work it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. And those are all different things, which I think you've seen today. But organizing your desk at Mary Kay, it doesn't pay you. Okay, it's just not going to pay you. The things that pay you in this business are being out in the field, seeing the people, following up with the people, recruiting the people, selling to the people. It's all about the people, okay? And the more people that you're in front of, the more of that you're going to see. When you're not in front of the people, I don't care what you're doing. If you're not in front of the people and working with the people, you are not going to be making money. And that's really important to know and to understand in Mary Kay. And if you're putting in an hour in your Mary Kay business, or a couple of hours every 3 or 4 months, that's also not going to pay you because you're not pumping the well long enough and consistently enough to get out of it what you need out of it. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, at a 9-to-5 job, let's see here. Your work is measured by a boss or your manager, and you get a review, okay? And Mary Kay, your business is reviewed, and basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is that your personal review of yourself and your business is your paycheck. It is your paycheck. And it's also the women's lives that you're leaving a legacy in and kind of watching their success. So again, those two things, your paycheck is your review in Mary Kay. It's not always like that at work. I know some of you guys work so hard and it makes no difference in your paycheck. In Mary Kay, you will not experience that at all. You will not experience that. Okay, also at a 9-to-5 job, you have very few options with who you work with. So you show up to work and you're kind of, whoever hired these other women, it's not your control, or these other whatever people that are in your office has nothing to do with you. It's not under your control all the time. In Mary Kay, you can choose that. You can choose not only who you work with, but where you work, when you work, and how you work. So I go to Starbucks every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday because when I sit at home and work, I'm distracted. I want to take a nap. I start cleaning things. I start freaking out because I realize, yeah, it's just like when you're at home, your whole life is around you. And so you get distracted so easily. When I go to Starbucks and throw a pair of headphones in and work, I get so much done in so little time. It's crazy. So I love that I can work from Starbucks if I want to. And that's really fun. But yeah, you have control over so many things when you're working Mary Kay business, which is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to finish up there. But basically, if you were raised in a 9-to-5 environment, owning a business is a total mind shift for you. You must be highly self-motivated, or you need to find good accountability within your business. And a lot of times, a business looks like working more on yourself and kind of improving your, your emotional capacity, your mental capacity, working on your personal skills and strengths more than it looks like entering data or cleaning your desk or doing these other little things. And so it's really important to invest in yourself. So showing up to a webinar like this is investing in yourself, and it's learning the skills. And you're the only one that's responsible for that. Nobody else is going to say, hey girl, I noticed that you're really slacking in this area right now. That is your own responsibility. And so as your director, do I help you with those things and coach you with those things? Yes, but you always want to take responsibility for your success or for your failures in Mary Kay. It's very important that you step up to the plate and are always deciding those things for yourself. Really important. And you truly want to learn how to work your business smart and not hard. So it would be a very, very wise investment of your money and your time to hire an assistant. And what that might look like at your position is hiring a high school or college student and paying them in product. I think that that's a really great idea. You can pay them $8 an hour in product to enter your sales tickets and kind of do all those basic things that you don't need to be doing. Somebody else could do it and you could delegate it to them. So think about that. And honestly, in this day and age, you can do almost anything remotely too. You could even send them pictures of your profile cards and your sales tickets and they could enter them that way. So kind of think outside the box with that and think, when I'm investing time in my business, what am I doing? Am I doing the parties? Am I out in the field? Or am I spending all this time doing busy work that's not really yielding me the money that I'm looking for? A national debut I went to a few years back, there was another national that spoke at it. And her daughter, who was a top sales director, actually did some research on sales directors and what car level they were driving based on how many hours per week they had an assistant. So very interesting. And it was something like, I can't remember the exact hours, but it was something like if you had an assistant less than 8 hours a week, you'd be driving a Chevy Cruze or no car. If you had an assistant like 10 to 15 hours a week or something like that, you'd probably be in the Chevy Equinox, the next car level up. And then I think it was like 20 hours or more, you'd be in the pink Cadillac. And so that was just so interesting. When you think about a CEO of a business, are they at home cleaning the house, washing the dishes, doing all like the data entry and all that? No, they delegate those things. And so it might also be important for you to find a housekeeper. Mary Kay was always super into realizing that the position that you are in Mary Kay comes from taking a very serious look at how much time you have in a day and then delegating the things that you don't personally need to be doing. So that you can really allocate your time to your business and to things that are your top priorities like your family. So, all right, Liz, so I'm going to wrap up here. Thanks so much for hopping on our leadership webinar. I hope this was helpful. As always, call me, text me, whatever, if you have questions, and I'm going to stop this recording.